Hey, everyone. Happy holidays. If you celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas weekend. Thanks for spending part of your holiday week with us. This is Inside Major League Pickleball, and it was a great week for the league. It was draft week, of course, and powered to Anna Lee Waters, the #1 pick of this year's draft at just 15 years old. You love to see it. We're going to break down the entire draft this podcast, so stay with us. And first, a quick thanks to our sponsors, Pro XR, the official paddle of MLP, the only paddle custom fit for your grip. Knock Around, the official sunglasses of MLP, quality shades that won't break the bank, and the official nutrition partner of Major League Pickleball, Aura Organic. Transform your health with plant-based nutrition from Aura. Last but not least, Franklin, the official ball of MLP. The Franklin X40 delivers the best in-game flight out of any ball on the market. Welcome, as always. I'm one of your hosts, Mish McMahon, former Michigan volleyballer, current sports broadcaster, wannabe pickleball star, still working on that. Probably should play more than once a week if I really want to aspire to such heights. Just a lady amongst some mullets in their Christmas onesies this week. Fellas, welcome. Love the outfits. Former pro and Olympic volleyballer, future pro pickleballer. He is the father of 5, Casey Patterson. Casey, welcome. And the infamous 4-time Survivor contestant, pickleball's fashionista, putting on a show here today. If you can see us on YouTube, you know what I'm talking about. Former pro cyclist, new title this week, holistic healer. He uses potatoes and onions to ward off all illnesses.
Listen, guys, I do not want to carry any responsibility or liability for any onion or potato remedies that you decide to try. My wife is the one that tried them, and jury's still out on whether or not they actually do anything. Michelle, you stand by the potatoes and the socks.
I do. I was literally watching. So for those of you, for context, on Tyson's Instagram, he posted a portion from another podcast of his sweet little daughter waking him up in the middle of the night saying she found potatoes in her socks.
That my wife had put there.
Which is hilarious. I was literally on the post, like, he was talking about everyone being sick in the household. I'm like, oh my gosh, you should try potatoes in the sock. And as I'm typing it, the butt of the joke was that his wife did that. Anyways, I'm on the TikTok healing path as well. So
what's that supposed to do? Like draw out the sickness from your feet?
That's
supposedly,
what they say.
Yeah. Like, I know people that have said it works.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Yeah. Do you know doctors that have said it works?
No, I don't, but I don't know. I'm here for the TikTok healing modalities. I think they're fun and interesting.
So, Casey, you pull this potato out of your sock, and it is like gnarly, all blackened and browned and like looks rotten. Like Marlo, my 4-year-old, still is like, Mom put rotten potatoes in my sock. And I was like, they weren't rotten when she put them in there. They just are all discolored and weird looking. And so that's why people are like, it draws stuff out. But I'm a skeptic.
Okay, but have you done a sample size of potatoes and not put them in anyone's socks and sat them out overnight and compared the two? Because I'm guessing they wouldn't be black. Yeah,
but I also probably, we're getting on a tangent here, but like human sweat and stuff could also have a
yeah, right.
So,
some sort of like salt.
Like chemical reaction or something.
Yeah.
So
it's got to be.
Anyways, I don't know. Who do you think had potatoes in their socks at the draft?
That's a perfect segue. Thank you, Tyson. Taking us
you
to
were there.
That was Tyson. I didn't even say your name. You were there. That's what we need to go to. But let's break down to the people how this year's draft works, because it's different from years past. And as Steve Kuhn always says, the sport ages in dog years, so it literally changes constantly. So, turning our attention to the 2023 MLP draft, which included the top pickleball talent in the world, obviously with the PPA's inclusion this season. Really exciting stuff. A much different looking player landscape than we've seen in seasons past. So if you're new to Major League Pickleball or familiar, the new format for 2023 is that there are 24 teams broken into 2 different levels. The MLP Premier level, which was drafted on the 15th of last week, and the MLP Challenger level draft taking place this week. So we'll be able to discuss that on our next podcast. So this week's draft featured the 12 teams in the Premier level, home to the nation's top 48 players that entered the draft. It's a promotion and relegation system. We'll get to the nuts and bolts in a moment. But Tyson, let's begin with the atmosphere. You were in Vegas, just chumming it up with all the owners and the players. I was very jealous watching from afar. But what was your experience there, and what can you tell us?
Oh, it was super fun. The energy was high. Everybody was super excited. I was told to dress up, and I brought some VIP guests with me. Boston Rob from Survivor, one of probably the most popular Survivor contestant of all time. Him and I were in Vegas. We were at a different event and just happened to be there. And so I was like, we got to go to the Major League Pickleball draft. So we roll into Mandalay Bay, and the event for just the pickleball tournament that they had for the PPA event was awesome. Like, they were in the convention center at Mandalay Bay, and they had so many courts, and they'd resurfaced the entire room as a pickleball surface.
Cool.
Like hundreds of courts.
Like the size of a Costco, right? Like, I mean,
yes,
bigger. Yeah.
Yes. And it all surfaced like pickleball surface.
Wow.
Wow.
And so it was incredible. And then they had one stadium built in the middle of it. And anyways, I go in, I'm obviously dressed fantastically.
He has a reputation to uphold. Pickleball
suit coat,
fashionista.
collared shirt, loafers, slacks, no hat. I'm looking prime. And I walk in there, and like half the players are just in like warm-ups and stuff like that. And then I realize it's because they really only announced the first player. The first round draft is the only one that was presented and had to look really fancy. So anybody who was in the first round was dressed up nicely.
It was dialed. Yeah.
Yeah, it was dialed. Ben Johns looked amazing. Annalie Waters was like sparkly from head to toe. And the energy was awesome. Lots of owners there. Everybody's sitting around. Hors d'oeuvres coming out, and drinks,
cool.
Open bar, all of it. And man, I gave so many high fives and fist bumps and hugs and all of it throughout the entire event. And I have to say that lots and lots of compliments on this podcast. Lots of people. Lots of people.
Stop it. Keep it coming.
Yes, lots of people.
I'm glad you brought it up, but thank you.
I love the podcast. We love the podcast. Yeah, I was like, hey, I do the podcast here. And they're like, yeah, you do? We knew Michelle and Casey did.
Yeah.
Like,
what was your name again? Your outfit's amazing, but what's your name?
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, let me put a hat on. Maybe you'd recognize me. And they're like, no. So, but it was super awesome. And I don't want to give you guys FOMO, but I saved the inaugural little VIP ticket thing you had to wear around. So, if that ever goes up on eBay at a premium, I'm going to get all the players to sign mine and then put it up there.
There you go.
That's so cool.
So,
I love it.
It was cool. And then they, announced everybody one by one, the first 12. And it was awesome. Did you guys get a chance to look at the first 12, or did you watch any of it on Tennis Channel?
Yes, obviously. I love the concept of how fast it's evolving and changing. And that's what this year's draft looked like in Vegas, in the centerpiece of so much hype and where it's going to continue to go. And for me, the coolest part is, as a female athlete myself, play Division I athletics, right? What other sport are you going to see a 15-year-old girl drafted number 1 over several top elite male athletes? I just think that's so cool.
Gymnastics?
Yeah, maybe.
Right?
Good point. Fair.
I was going to try and come up with a list of tons of sports, but then I was like, not really. No,
I
but
just think it's so cool.
Over
Ben Johns.
Yes, that doesn't
right?
happen. That's not happening in gymnastics. That's not happening in swimming. That's not happening in track and field. That's not happening anywhere unless there is a full-on anomaly. But if you look at the top 12 here, over half of them were women.
Right.
The first picks of the teams for over half the teams were women.
It's for me, if I'm a young girl looking at an up-and-coming sport, which I was at one point in my life, it's I'm looking at pickleball I want to play pickleball and be the number one draft pick one day. You know, I just think that you guys have daughters. You know, I just think that's so special. And
I'm already pressuring them. Yeah.
With potatoes in hand.
Just got to keep them in top-notch health, you know? You can't afford to not do it and then like 20 years down the road, it's like, Dad, you didn't put potatoes in my socks. I was like, oh no, this is the thing. And they're like, everything I did perfectly as a father, but the one thing I didn't do was put potatoes in your socks. And now you're blaming me for everything.
That other girl's never had plantar fasciitis because her dad always put potatoes in her socks. It's your fault, Dad. You don't love me.
What about you, Casey? What jumps out to you about the top 12?
No, I thought about the same exact things. I was like, wow, I love the strategy around that because who knows what each team is thinking with their first pick. It sets the tone for like everything else. And so I think having, Annalie go first was awesome because it threw everyone else in like, all right, either that's plan A for everyone else or they've got plan B or plan C. Like, all right, it looks like they're going to build their women's side, have like the strongest women. And then, the men, they'll come in near that third or fourth round even. It's like, that's the strategy they're going with. All right, now also with who gets what pick in the second round, third round, there's so many like variations, like Moneyball, it's just like, oh my gosh, the math and the strategy around that were so cool. Right. So for me, that first thought was, I'm so excited to see like, okay, round 2, what's going to happen? Round 3.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
Yeah. And for those of you who missed it, we'll just break down round 1 and the 12 teams that entered their picks first. Obviously, we talked about Annalie Waters, number 1, going to the New Jersey Fives, which Gary V and Ryan Harwood were ecstatic. They were
their post
so
on social
thrilled.
Was rad. We got her. It's like the Shaq.
Yes.
They said it's like the late 90s Shaq, like unstoppable.
Yeah.
Like
it's so smart too.
So
I mean,
cool.
especially you want a strong women's doubles team that obviously enhances your chances. What we've seen with the last couple of tournaments and how that impacts the results. It's smart plan. And then number 2, the Seattle Pioneers obviously went with Ben Johns as the second overall pick. It's an obvious choice, don't you think?
Yep. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody was surprised by that. The only thing, me sitting there, I was thinking, okay, Annalie went first. Are we going to see all the women start getting scooped because teams are in panic mode?
Stressing.
Like, we got to get this on lock. But then you're like, somebody's going to lock the men up too.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. I'd be really interested to get one of the owners on here in the next couple of weeks just to delve into their strategy, whatever they're willing to give us. At number 3, the ATX Pickleballers went with JW Johnson. So it went woman, man, and then women. Again, what do you guys think of JW Johnson going at number 3?
Yeah, I mean, he's obviously the closest in talent to Ben currently. Mm-hmm. So, like, if you want to compete with Ben Johns on the men's side, you have to take JW Johnson.
Have to. Yeah. It's obvious choice. So then 4 and 5, number 4 was the NYC Hustlers. I love the name. And that is Anna Bright. And number 5, the Los Angeles Mad Drops, Catherine Parento. So 4 and 5, stacking with the women. We had Anna Bright on just last week. She was open-minded to wherever she would go, and she lands on LeBron's team. How cool is that?
So sick. That's
not a bad place to go.
Not a bad place at all. That's half the fun of it. And then the LA Mad Drops, obviously, Drew Brees and Zubin Mehta are the owners there. It's also half the fun seeing the owners with each. So I guess including the picks, I'll include who the owners are as well, since this is evolving for everybody. At number 6, it was the SoCal Hard Eights, Riley Newman. And this is an interesting one, Tyson, because he is not going to be available for the first tournament. So what do we think? What do we think this one will pan out to be? Yeah,
to me, this is in the top 12. This is the most interesting pick because Riley has already announced before the draft happened that he has committed to other previous engagements and he will miss the first event. So they're going to have to take, I'm assuming, a sub from the rankings all the way below everybody that's been drafted. So who do you choose to take with you? And what is your strategy there in knowing Riley is gone? Are you just going to just like roll the dice on the first one in the hopes that you win the next 2 consecutive events? Do you have a plan already in play? Like, are you taking someone like Sam Querrey doesn't even have a duper rating right now? Like, is he a dark horse or something that someone could pull in that is going to surprise people? Do they know something we don't know? That's what I don't know. And then secondly, if he were going to be available for all 3 events, would he have been drafted higher?
Yeah. You have to think that they have some confidence of who was going to be available at the end of 48 picks. Like, they have to have somebody in mind that they're like, to your point of a dark horse. I mean, you don't make that pick unless you're confident, right? Because theoretically things are going to change after 3 events. So I think they know something we don't, and it was
I think so too.
Worth the risk.
Also, it's like if they choose someone to replace him for one event, does that person, are they now out of the challenger draft?
Right.
Or are they able to step back in? Because you've got guys like Rob Nunnery, you've got Callan Dawson, you've got Wes Burrows, Spencer Smith. You got all these guys that could easily just fit in right there in any of these teams that are available. Yeah. So it's like, but does that screw them if they go up and take Riley's spot? Can they go back? Do they get screwed out of a really good challenger team?
Yeah. We're going to have to get the scoop there. Number 7, the Cabo Vamos. I mean, if these eventually turn into like home squads where they have facilities and players get to travel out to train with their team, heck yeah, I want to be I want to go to Cabo.
Yeah.
Jay DeVilliers, the Frenchman, gets that vote there. And
what an international team.
Yeah.
Can I be a general manager for the Cabo Vamos?
Seriously.
And good night. You know where to find me. Number 8, Florida Smash, Jesse Irvin. Travis Rettenmeyer was a key part of that decision, obviously, as the player owner. I like that pick a lot. I think Jesse Irvin, yes. You
think it's a steal?
I do. I mean, I don't know if I would say steal still the first round, right? Top 12, but I think Jesse Irvin is a game changer with whatever team she's on.
Agree.
She's difference
so physical.
Maker. Yes, and adaptable with whoever she plays with. Mm-hmm. Like, if you see her in tournaments with brand new partners, she still succeeds, which obviously is important because half the time in this setup, you haven't necessarily played with the people that you're teaming up with. At number 9, the Las Vegas Night Owls. We know our general manager well, the general manager well there on that team. That is, of course, Tom Brady's team. Caitlin Kerr is the GM, Kim Kleisters, Callie Simpkins, and Tom Wagner. So that was a team that I was most intrigued. Whenever Tom Brady is involved, the competitor he is, I'm intrigued by their choice. We're going to have to follow up with Caitlin. Vivian David there. What do you think of that choice? Anything jump out to you there?
Yeah, I think she performed really well at the MLP events this year, and she always had positive energy. She was always excited. And I think that, I think her and I think Andrea Koop is next in line there in the draft. And I think both of them really stood out at the MLP events this past year.
I'm surprised David went ahead of Andrea Koop.
You are? You think that should have flip-flopped?
I don't know. I find it interesting. Not necessarily anything there. I just feel like Andrea Koop has so much notoriety in these types of situations. That was a surprise for me.
Yeah, she definitely has been amping and leveling up every MLP. You see,
and Kelly Smith.
I'm surprised
Lucy Kovaloa.
Yes,
I mean that's interesting.
But that's the top women are within that realm right there, that range, and they could interchange and stuff like that. But like you said, a lot of people would have put maybe Callie Smith ahead of Koop and David, and then also Lucy Kovalova is there as well. That's where you have to then be very smart about your second and third and fourth picks.
Yeah, and that's where I feel like the Milwaukee Mashers at 14 in the second round got Lucy Kovalova. I feel like that one might end up being a steal for them. I was anticipating her going a little bit higher in that way, but the Masters also went with Callie Smith at 11, in the first round, and that is James Blake's team, Mark Lazary and Alex Lazary. So smart choice to team up Callie Smith and Lucy Kovalova. So they must have known, getting Callie at 11, who was their second female choice. Obviously, Lucy Kovalova at 14.
That's a killer women's team.
Yeah, I love that.
Good.
I think that is a lethal combo. Yeah, I think that is a very, very smart choice for them, especially going late in the first round to take two strong women there, first and second round. I think that's going to pay off for them. And then number 12, the Frisco Clean Cause, Zane Navratil, sneaking into the first round. That could end up being a steal. I mean, that's the interesting part about this draft is the margins are so thin between players. Yeah.
It's true. And you say still, but then you look at the men who were drafted in front of him.
Right. Like, exactly. I'm like, well. You
have Johns, you have JW, you have Jay DeVilliers. Like, there's like, is it a steal or is it just like that's where he should be? Like, I think, again, it's who's the second, who's the third, and who's the fourth on those teams. And, and we're going to get into that right now. Yeah. Let's look at these teams.
Take us there.
Let's go to Annalie Waters' teams, the New Jersey Fives first. Mm-hmm. They ended up picking up Leah Jansen and James Ignatovich and Hayden Patriquin. What are your thoughts there? We got two 16-year-old kids playing on a professional major league pickleball team, and I hope we get to see them paired.
Yeah, you got Hayden, who's that kid is a baller, and he's been doing really, really well recently, right? He's had some good success with Julian Arnold and a bunch of medals in a row near the end of the summer. And so I think he's super confident. He knows he belongs. And I think he's a guy that is going to surprise a lot of people and step up and really level up in a format like this too.
Yeah. I like that they went with the young and up and comers here too, with especially with Ignatovich. I think that's an interesting, good pick. I think that's a steal of a guy's pick, and Annalie Waters, I feel like, just makes everyone better. And then Leah Jansen. So if this thing goes singles, they're in good shape between Annalie Waters, Leah Jansen, and even James Ignatovich with his obviously strong tennis background. I like this.
And big t-shirts.
And
big baggy t-shirts. Like he's a skater.
Got the full scoop from his GF, Anna Bright, last podcast.
He's gonna fill into those one day. That's how I bought my first Letterman jacket at BYU. I ordered it really big, thinking I'm gonna fill into it.
Yeah,
never filled my way in.
Yeah,
I'm gonna lift my way into filling this thing out. Still ordered it 10 sizes too big.
That's awesome. I love that.
So I love that. Let's go to the second team, the Seattle Pioneers. Ben Johns.
That team is, sorry to cut you off, but I've been talking about them all morning when we were talking about, all right, all the formats, this team is deadly. They're deadly.
Let's hear it. I'll list them real quick and let's hear all of your thoughts. Yeah. We got Etta Wright, Tyler Leung, and Megan Sheehan-Dizon.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you guys seen Etta play? I've watched a bunch of highlights. Yes. She's gnarly.
She's
gnarly. Mm-hmm. I'm like, she's that player, like I've kind of compared to when I was on the cusp of making it into the pro tour, and I was like a guy in the qualifier on our beach tour. And it was like, I was this prodigy type guy that was like, okay, a main draw guy is willing to take a chance on me because I'm physical and I'm hungry to win. Like watching her in these highlights, I'm like, she's already there. Like, it's just, she's not like a name brand yet for me. Like I've heard of her just recently, and then I went and watched. I was like, oh my gosh, she's insane. And then you got Tyler, Ben. I mean, they all can play singles. So you've got the co-ed, you've got, the singles format, you've got same gender. I mean, I feel like that's the team I would choose to win the whole thing.
Ooh.
That's just my call.
Okay.
Like it.
Early. Do we even need to talk about the other teams, Casey?
I mean, we could call it right now. I'm just kidding. All that does is make everyone else mad, so they're going to play better. Dang it. We got to talk everything.
Okay.
So let's go. I'm also surprised, though. Seattle had a chance to get Colin Johns in the fourth round, but they went with Tyler Leung instead.
Mm-hmm.
I was surprised by that. Like we were talking about that last week as far as strategy goes.
I think Leung has to be the stronger singles player.
He is.
Yeah.
And if he is that much superior in singles or higher rated than Colin, you have to take your chance with Tyler, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I also think that because of Megan and then Etta too, you have two like really aggressive women who can play like real aggressive, that Tyler being on the right side gives you versatility when it comes to mix and lining up differently, right? Either across from the other female player or across from the male. Like it gives them the ability to do stuff like that other teams might not be used to getting that type of a look of a offense. So I think it's good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We go to ATX Pickleballers, JW Johnson, Gabrielle Tardo, Jackie Kawamoto, and Jade Kawamoto, the sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
What are we thinking there?
Gabe Tardio stands out to me there.
Yeah.
I think that's a sneaky pick. I think he's a steal at 46 from what he showed us at the well, I guess his entry point in Newport Beach was kind of like the show stealer. Everyone turning their heads like, who the heck is this guy coming in on as a reserve? And then obviously, solidifying his place come the Columbus event in October. To me, he and JW Johnson will be a lethal pair together as far as the men's go. What do you think, Casey?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think the sisters as well, I've watched them play and they're so consistent. It's really fun to watch, like a really defensive minded team that just keep the ball in play. They just wear you out. And so I think it's going to give those guys some freedom to be aggressive and do their thing as well, just in the mix. So I think, I think that's a great team too. Yeah. Gabe's too. He's a guy that I've seen kind of stand out, especially that Newport event where it's like, whoa, this guy's gnarly.
Yeah. I want to also touch on the energy of these four is very reserved, very quiet, very, like JW is a silent killer.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
you're
the rest
right.
of these guys all kind of match that similar energy. Like they're all kind of, assassins. And as we move on to the next team,
Yeah, I was just going to
this
say.
team could explode of energy as they all are competing for Barstool Sports most explosive person in all of athletics.
Yeah.
We have the New York Hustlers with Anna Bright, super fiery, super energetic, super outspoken on the court. If she's beat you in a point, she's going to let you know as loud as she can to your face across the net.
Right.
Rafa Hewitt, the same. He's matches or exceeds that energy sometimes. He gets super fired up. Tyson McGuffin, identical
Yeah.
in his energy. So much energy, always bringing the crowd into it. And then we have Lacey Schneeman, who energy, she's a little more reserved. Are these three fireballs going to be able to work together, or is there energy? Is it going to be like the sun imploding on itself from too much?
That's probably why they went with the fourth pick of a more balanced energy.
Like we need
somebody to stabilize
So
this,
many chest bumps and fists. Yeah.
But listen, like Anna Bright talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that the sport is momentum driven. There's a point where you reach a talent level where it's like you're almost equal, with the exception of like the maybe upper echelon of Ben Johns and a couple there, right? So what's going to be the X factor? We've all played in team sports before. That energy, chemistry, it can work for you and it can work against you, as we've all seen. But I feel like they know themselves enough to be able to harness that and channel that. I love it. I feel like this will be, as far as television goes, they should be putting them on championship court every chance they get. Well, not only is it LeBron's team, obviously, but also energetically speaking, I can't wait to see the explosions happening on court with every single combination, because no matter who's playing with who, there's going to be one firecracker going off the entire time. And it's genuine too. That's the crazy
and
part
from the
to me.
sidelines as well. All three of them are going to be going all the time. I think And for me, this is just me speaking from my own personal experiences. I get very energetic, very fired up when I am in control of what's happening, when I am in the lead, when I have the strategic advantage, whatever it is. I am very in your face, very outspoken. But if I fall behind, if I take some bad beats, if I take some hits, I sink into quiet, reserve, assassin mode, waiting for the time to strike. If these people's energies don't match the rhythm of the other, could that be a factor?
Yeah. I think the expectation of highlights and energy and fire sometimes are tough to get over if it doesn't start right away, right? Like you're going to have some growing pains and work through that. If they don't start hot because they want to and everyone's expecting them to and everyone's coming to watch and everyone's talking about it. Like now the expectation has been set. And now if they don't perform immediately, there's going to be a little bit of an internal struggle and battle. So I think they're all veterans though. They probably know that. They're going to have this conversation and be like, look, we all want to start hot. We all love to perform. We play our best game when everyone's watching and there's pressure. Yeah. So let's just make sure that we take a little emotion out sometimes and accept that these other teams are going to make some good plays and just keep our cool and just wait for the time to like throw the grenades because we're coming, and I think they'll for sure figure that out. But I agree with you. There's a little bit of that like roller coaster effect because I'm the same type of player. If I'm on fire, I'm untouchable and you don't want me anywhere near the ball.
Especially with rally scoring. I mean, I think this is going to work for them at every single point. If you are, it could be exhausting in that way too, but I just feel like it's going to work for them in this.
Burning twice as many calories.
I think their mantra
in this setup.
Yeah,
I think it's going to work for them. I think it's such a momentum game in these tournaments, especially these tournaments, more than any other setup.
Yeah, I mean, my only concern is someone you look at someone like Rafa Hewitt. He gets fired up even when he's down. He gets fired up at thinking about coming back from a deficit.
Yeah.
My energy isn't that. My energy is let's focus and be quiet until we surpass our opponent, and then let's get in their face again.
Let's focus and be quiet.
And so, if and I don't know how everybody's energy is, but if McGuffin's energy is more let's wait until we take the lead before we get really hyped, and Rafa's I have to hype to get the lead, then that's two different energies that are colliding a little bit.
That's something that I think they'll do well if they have that team meeting, be like, look, in this matchup, I'm going to let you green light. You're free as a bird, do whatever you want. I'm going to be the consistent guy that's going to keep the ball in play. And then when we have a lead, I'm there with you to just match the fire. Because I think they almost have to balance that out a little.
I'll be curious to see who they match up in terms of mixed doubles, who they partner with who.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
obviously it depends on the situation. If you're down by, a couple games, you're going to go your best foot forward. I would think that'd be Anna Bright and Tyson McGuffin, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and Rafa all this year stepped up and played
a baller
out of his mind,
especially MLP.
Yes. And that's what I'm saying. These team events with Rafa is where he shines, and he is always on his A game.
Yeah, Major League Pickleball was designed for a player like Rafa Hewitt.
Yes, and it'll be interesting to see. I'm excited to see that team. We're definitely going to see some firecrackers, some fireworks, and I don't know if security is going to have to be on hand to stop players from getting in each other's faces, because if you're on the opposite end of that and you're not used to that type of energy coming at you, it can get under your skin. Yeah, And we have someone we have Julian Arnold will fire back at them across the net. We have guys we're going to see some fireworks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to the California Black Bears, the former BLQK.
Yeah.
And we have Andrea Coop, obviously, Dylan Fraser, Federico Staxrud, and Maggie Brasha. How you guys feel about that?
I think it's a really balanced team that's not going to have a ton of hype around them, besides the fact that team's been very successful as an ownership group. I think they've had great players, and I think sometimes this is the best position to be in, where you've got a bunch of really, really good, solid players, and there's no Anna Bright, Tyson, like, oh, let's go watch. There's going to be so much fire. They're going to go to work and they're going to have that resilient like grind and surprise people because, you know, if everyone isn't coming at you like that other team, like the Hustlers, I mean, they're going to slowly just cut you to death until you're done.
Yeah.
Bled to death.
I feel like this group embodies like a quiet intensity, especially when I think of players like Dylan Frazier and Andrew Coop. And I like this women's combo with Andrew Coop and Mary Brasha. I think that's going to be a sneaky combo for them.
Agree.
Yeah. And I think that you look at someone like Dylan here, very easily could have been a first round.
Oh, easy.
Very easily.
He's so good.
So, so he was their second round there. And looking at that and understanding that Dylan easily could have been a first round, it's crazy to think that had he been a first round, all the other teams would be different.
Mm-hmm.
Like if California Black Bears would have selected Dylan Frazier first as their first round, they would have gotten him still. Yeah. But Andrew would have gone somewhere else, and the whole lineup for everybody else's team would have been different.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So it's the old take a time machine all the way back and step on a butterfly in the Jurassic period, and everything changes.
Exactly.
Everything changes.
Let's go to Michelle's, at least in spirit, her team, the Cabo Vamos. We have Jay DeVilliers, Vamos, Simone Jardim, Alice Jones, and Eric Lang. What stands out here, Michelle? Anything particularly eye-catching for you?
Well, Simone Jardim for me is such a classic. Obviously, one of the GOATs in the sport. So any team that she's on is going to be next level, in my opinion. And in the intensity of Alice Jones, too. She's such a fun player to watch. Especially seeing her in action this weekend with the PPA championships. Really, really good women's team. That's what excites me the most. And Jay DeVilliers, I think the size. Can we talk about the size of he and Eric Lang together?
Combined?
A couple of trees on that side. So I like it. I
heard
really
they're going to
like
hold
this.
hands in the middle, and they'll never have to let go to reach the sidelines.
I mean, think about that, though. The mixed combinations with the physicality of the men on both sides and the experience of Simone Jardim. She still can play like she's freaking 24 years old. She knows the strategy so well of the game. I like this. And I think they have a really nice balance of, like, that passion and energy and the, like, when to conserve and when to, like, get after it from an energetic standpoint. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I think the veteran mentality that Simone's going to bring, like the calm and confident mentality, you know, she's going to bring that. And then Jay's going to be able to fly around and just be a gnarly athlete. And same with Elise. They're just going to be doing barrel rolls and flips and ernies. And it's going to be really good to have the balance of those two things because it lets those two be really free, right? Simone's mentality and the way she's competed over her career sets the tone for everyone else to feel like they get to be themselves and have fun versus, okay, I got to be a different type of player for my team. They just get to stay who they are and play free, which I think is perfect.
Yeah. And I'm surprised Jones hasn't started wearing knee pads and elbow pads and stuff when she plays because she will dive and roll and fall and get up. And it's really fun to watch. But I also, like, it hurts me. Like, I can feel hitting the ground when I watch her dive. I'm like,
she's the next libero from volleyball as well. So that's like, it doesn't even hurt her. With
Wait,
her,
who
like,
is?
Elise Jones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she played volleyball at UVSC or Utah Valley. She was the libero for that team for a long time. One of the buddies
I called her
I played
Alice.
with at BYU. No,
I
you're
did
good.
too.
It's Elise.
Yeah.
Is it Elise?
Yeah,
Sorry,
Elise.
Elise. Sorry.
Are you sure,
I hate getting
Casey?
names wrong.
Yes, I promise.
I really hate
If
getting
he's
names wrong.
you can
wrong
blame
and
me.
we're right, and
I'll
then he
take it.
corrected. Okay.
Yeah.
Did you just subtweet us, Casey?
Elise.
Elise. I haven't talked to her yet on the tour. I usually, once I get the face of the name, I'm like, all right, cemented. Sorry, Elise.
Yeah.
We'll get it right. Promise.
If it's wrong,
I waved at her.
better. It's even better because I have something to talk about.
Would you wave and say hi, Alice?
Yeah.
I didn't say, I just waved like we know each other in face.
Yeah.
But yeah, like when I went to the draft, I was like, I know all of the players here. Some of them know me, but probably all of them don't know me. And some of them are aware of me, but have never met me. And so it's always like, hi. And I gauge off the initial like hi, whether or not they know me or I have to explain myself.
Right.
And yeah.
Okay, now that you pointed out the volleyball thing too, I'm a little biased, obviously, but I like this women's team even more. I don't know.
Because Simone also played volleyball, so
yes,
they're going to be gnarly.
I just feel like it's transferable for women, especially. I don't know.
Yeah.
When I play
you think that men volleyballers make poor pickleball players? Is that what you're saying, Michelle?
Yeah,
this is awkward.
Terrible pickleball players. I wouldn't recommend the transition.
I got news about Casey for you.
I just can't speak on the men's side. I just like, maybe I'm biased, but I just feel like I don't know, it's such transferable skills, and especially like, I don't know if you relate this to volleyball yourself, Casey, but the resets, to me, especially if Elise is a former libero, you're just digging out all, quick pace. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think you have
doing
a
the same
better
thing
chance
you've done your whole career.
At the touches where and then like when you're passing to a certain spot, and like you're used to targeting an area, and I don't know. I think that transfers really nicely.
It does. I'm the same way. That's how I feel, because playing defense for so long in the beach, being the little guy,
like pace doesn't
that's
scare
my favorite
you.
time. No,
you're used to like handling balls flying at your face like 100 miles an hour, and you're like, well, I'll just set it. It's fine.
Right. I'm just right there to scoop. Yeah. It's like if somebody digs a ball too high and they're about to overhead, I don't like backpedal and like try to. I just sit there and I'm like, I'm ready. I'll take it. If you hit me, cool. If not, I'm gonna scoop it.
That's So I think that's I don't know. I like it.
Okay, volleyballers, FTW. Let's go to the Florida Smash, and we have Jesse Irvine. Irvin. Why do they put an E on there?
Why do they put a silent T in your last name?
Or
a silent HO in mine? I don't know.
Sure, fine.
The eighth wonder of the world.
Yeah, the eighth wonder of the world. So Jesse Irvin, number one, right there on their team, first round draft pick. Travis Rettenmeyer, Georgia Johnson, and Colin Johns.
Mm-hmm.
I just have one question here.
What?
Does Travis automatically go to the Florida Smash no matter what because he's a part owner of that team? Or could another team scoop him before he can draft himself?
Yeah.
Well, I would think he'd be available for anyone to draft him.
You would think.
Gotta be.
But I mean, he's landed on his own team every time.
I know, right?
But look at the guys that went ahead of him. You've got Tyson McGuffin, James Ignatowicz, Dylan Frazier, Matt Wright, Rafa Hewitt, Julian Arnold. I guess you're right. I guess he very easily could have gone in at least the top of the third round. But then, it wouldn't be in the best interest of an owner of another team because he could give like inside scoop to then the Florida Smash for other. I don't know.
It gives you such a huge advantage because you know that if like that's actually what's going on. I pick myself fourth. I'm the fourth round, and then I get my first 3 rounds or like a higher level first 3 round picks because I'm not worried about my fourth.
So as a team and me just trying to mess things up, I'd draft Travis first and be like, come on, you're coming to our team, bud.
Yeah, exactly.
You're coming to our team, bud.
Yeah.
That's so funny. That's actually, I mean, it had to have been. He had to have been available, right? Because if it was a guarantee for the Florida Smash, he would have taken himself in the 4th round.
Yeah. That is interesting.
And taken a higher pick.
Yeah.
A higher men's pick.
So the strategy for them, if Florida Smash with Travis Rettenmeyer as the team owner wants to play for his team, he has to draft himself before he thinks he comes into play for the rest of the teams. So he's essentially, and this is just from a mathematics standpoint, Moneyball standpoint, he has to draft himself ahead of where he should draft himself just to make sure that he gets on his team. Which then he sacrifices choosing someone who's maybe ranked higher than him.
Yeah, you almost have to be the first round pick for your team if you're guaranteed.
Yeah.
I'm curious how that all works, or how it all went down.
Yeah. Well, Casey, when you and I own a team,
yes,
and, we draft Michelle first, and then you and me next.
It's just so unfair for everyone else.
I can go third. I can go third round. I have no ego about that. That's fine. I've seen Michelle's backhand, and I've seen Casey's smash. Las Vegas Night Owls.
We already talked about them.
Did we? No.
Yeah.
We got
you're
Dekel.
right. Sorry.
Stratman.
Right. I talked.
Vivian David.
sorry, Tyson.
You talked about Vivian David and the Las Vegas Night Owls, and this is Tom Brady's team, right?
Yes.
And Kim Kleisters. I met Kim and Katie and most of the ownership group at the event. Callie Simpkin was there as well. And this team is Vivian David, Dekel Barr, Lauren Stratman, and Kyle Yates. And Casey, what you thinking?
I like this team a lot. I feel like I think Dekel and Kyle, didn't they play together a little bit at the end of or this last season? They played a little bit on the APP, right? From what I remember. And they were nasty. It was really fun to watch them play. So I think that they'll be a very strong men's team, because mentally Kyle he's an OG, but he's still young. You know what I mean? Mentally he's an OG, but physically he's young. So I think they're deadly. And with how big Dekel is, I think that's going to be a really rad team, at least on the men's side. For the men's team, I think they could beat anybody.
Yeah, especially coming from Kyle Yates' last showcase in Columbus, making it all the way to the finals. I feel like he, as you mentioned, one of the OGs. Is anyone surprised that he went as low as 47 in the fourth round?
I think that, I'm not surprised. I mean, he easily could have gone higher, but like you said, pickleball, it's, it ages so fast and so many newcomers are coming into the sport. I could easily say Dekel should have gone way earlier than he did as well.
Right.
Yeah.
Like he's one of the top guys in the sport. He could have been a first round somewhere in there. And so, yeah, I think that both of them are steals for that team. Agreed. I think, yeah. And I'm excited to see Lauren Stratman mix in there with both of those guys and with David. And yeah, I think they're ones to watch. I think they can match the energy of some of the other teams on the other side of the net. They don't have to be the most energetic, but they can definitely match that energy when they need to.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see him play. And, let's move on to the next team. The Hard Eights. This is the SoCal Hard Eights with Riley Newman going number 1. They got Lindsay Newman as well, his sister, AJ Kohler, and Mary Brasha. And this team looks strong.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But what are they going to do with Riley for the first event?
How's the first event going to look? And then chemistry-wise, into the second, like how do they carry if they don't perform well, or if they do and now there's a whole, like, you throwing in a superstar, you know what I mean? And having to recalibrate their identity with him. That's going to be interesting.
And then can Riley play singles? Can Lindsay play singles? Have we seen them play singles before?
I haven't. I'm sure they all can. I've just never seen it.
Is that a rhetorical question?
Yeah.
I just think it'll be interesting too. Well, I think it's interesting that nobody wanted to split up the partnership of Riley and Lindsay and take her off the list with another team. But obviously, different makeups of teams dictate that. But then who will the replacement be, and how will that change the dynamic? I mean, because it's huge. That's an interesting question mark for me.
I know that Riley and Lindsay have a sister who also plays high-level pickleball. Maybe she'll just fill in for him.
Yeah, right? They're like, listen, the family's got plenty. We'll just sub her in. Yeah.
It has to be a new
one.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see. I think that Riley and AJ will be a very explosive, powerful men's duo.
Agreed.
So they could fall in love with each other, like, and become a powerhouse on
They've
tours.
played before.
Yeah.
They've done really well.
But they're not in love yet.
Yeah. It's just honeymoon still, but they're like, I don't know. Are you dating someone else? Yeah.
Define our
It's the
relationship.
phase before honeymoon. They're not at honeymoon yet.
Oh,
Not yet.
so
It's
nervous.
the gray area, limbo land,
Courting, but
courting phase.
but no DTR yet. So, yeah, that'll be interesting to see.
Cuffing season.
And I'm sure we're going to hear soon what they're going to do with Riley. Like, what is the plan there? I'm sure this team probably already knows. The owners have to know at least kind of what's going to happen and what their options are for replacing Riley for that first event. Milwaukee Mashers, we have Callie Jo Smith as their first pick. We have Lucy Kovalova, Andre Dascu, and DJ Young. And I have not like fully like looked and focused at these teams. I've looked at the list. I've seen the teams. And now that I'm looking at this team, this might be my pick to win the first event. I mean,
they're solid.
Andre and
around.
DJ, they're both like 7.5 feet tall.
Yeah.
And the patience of Dascu, I think, will help balance DJ Young's aggression.
Yes. And then Callie Jo and Lucy Kovalova. How did the other teams let that happen?
I don't know. That's a deadly female combo.
That's a four. That team of four, their ability to play up and to beat anyone is unbelievable, and their chemistry, and they're going to like step up as a team because I think they all are so confident in who they are, and then you know what I mean. There's the success on both ends. That's a team you don't want to face.
Yeah, it'll be. I can't wait to see this team play. I think that foursome is fearsome. The fearsome foursome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Milwaukee, heard it here first.
Okay, that's your pick. Got it.
That's my pick. Team Clean, the Frisco Clean Cause is Zane Navratil was their first pick. We have Lena Padigamite, Matt Wright, and Yana Grechkina.
Nice. I was wondering how you were going to do with those women names.
How'd I
Nailed
do?
it.
Yeah, right.
Killed it. Yeah.
They're pretty phonetic. And I can read. I learned to read at a pretty young age, you know. I mean, not younger than normal people learn to read, about average.
Phonetic. Lena's name is not phonetic. Padigamite.
Yeah,
You
that's
did not look at that and say, oh, that's phonetic.
I learned it last year at the draft.
I know. We learned together.
Yeah, we sat there and kept repeating it. We're like, okay, how
do you say it?
How? Got it. So, Michelle, what do you like about these guys here?
They had a interesting draft position, I feel like, to go 12 and 13. So they got Zane in the first round, and then the first pick of the second round right after that. So they must have gone in knowing exactly which duo they wanted to go after, obviously, because you have your choice at that point. So Zane Navratil, Matt Wright, I love that combination together. You have the veteran presence of Matt Wright, Zane Navratil, one of the best, well, if not the best singles player in the world right now, and also one of the best doubles players in the world. I like this. I think it's a sneaky combo. And then Yana and Lena's presence together, I think between the mixed combinations they're able to work with there and Navratil's experience on BLQK, getting to the finals in nearly every MLP event so far, and being the strategic brains behind every single operation, you know this guy is going to say, all right, he's probably got an Excel sheet of everyone's strong points and weak points and how they all go together and balance each other out. He's probably got his own duper system going with his team. So
what a nerd.
I trust in Zane Navratil's ability to orchestrate and maximize the potential on this team. So I think that's a great choice. all across the board. What do you think, Casey?
Yeah, I agree. I think the agility of Zane, and then the confidence and veteran side that Matt brings as well, just like being a winner. I think Matt knows how to win and figure out how to win. And so I think he's going to get the most out of that team, and Zane's going to run around like Spider-Man and make things happen and have some highlight reels. And Spider-Man. I think, both Lena and Yana are both solid, like all around players that I think they'll fit in perfect with whatever that team starts to level up, and whatever direction, they're right there. And so I think that's a great foursome to be together.
Yeah. And Matt, honestly, he was the pinnacle of the sport 2 years ago. Unbeatable in mixed doubles, Yeah. And I really think that he has, come back into his own. As the level of players has increased, he's also been able to increase his level, and even more so recently. And it's exciting to see him do that. And yeah, this is another one to watch. That's the beauty of the MLP, is that it's so hard to predict who will win. And with that, we go to the last team that we've discussed, Los Angeles Mad Drops, Catherine Parento, Irina Tereshchenko, Julian Arnold, and Thomas Wilson. And this team also could win. Like, all of these teams could win, but like, I'm looking at this team like, should I change my pick? I'm going to stick with Milwaukee, and just because keep it easy. But this team is so strong, and these two guys, Julian and Thomas, have, Julian's been around for a year, but he has been on a meteoric rise. Thomas Wilson, same thing, but he's been around for 2 years. Irina Tereshchenko has been at the top of the sport for years and years and years, and Catherine Parento, the same. Then they're always at the top. So I think this team, and they're explosive too. I want to see this team play New York, because I think Julian
spicy
and Irina,
combo.
Yes, so max spice, like Carolina Reaper spice almost. I'm surprised
Irina Tereshchenko went as low as 20. I think that's a steal right there from the female side. I mean, I guess I don't know where she could have easily gone in the first round to me.
Yeah. I mean, she's always consistent. She's always there. She's always near the medal rounds if she's not in the medal rounds.
Right.
And I think a very solid team, very well built. And we have, any one of those four could take over at any given moment and, take every single ball from anywhere on the court.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all great singles players. They're all fantastic doubles players. Like, where's the weakness?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she's been to every championship. Same with Zane.
Right.
Even before pre-Zane, she was the first OG champ of the league. So I think that experience goes a long way.
Yeah, I think having that, well, for sure, she'll be able to manipulate and curate her team to maximize the whatever is team they're facing, whatever matchups. Like, that's so much experience.
Mm-hmm.
We had so much more planned for this podcast, but we got so excited about the team builds. Before we close, Michelle, who's your pick to win the first event end of January in Arizona? If that has any bearing on, any weight on it's going to be in Arizona. It'll probably be chilly, but it's going to be outside in the sun. Who's winning this thing?
I got my money on LeBron's team, the New York City Hustlers. I resonate with the name. I also feel like I'm a hustler in this industry, so I'm going Hustlers. I'm going, if nothing else, the entertainment value. They will win from an energetic standpoint, but I freaking love the way that Anna Bright competes. I love the combination of her and Tyson McGuffin, and Rafa Hewitt is built for this kind of tournament. I'm going with the Hustlers, loudest and proudest, and they're gonna take it all the way. If Anna Bright has anything to do with it, this girl's on a mission.
let's hope their star doesn't shine so bright it implodes and becomes a black hole.
They're the shiniest team to me, and I like that.
Casey, who you got?
Oh, I still think it's Seattle Pioneers, and not because, I'm Mormon and my family were pioneers, but because of the players on that team. I feel like it's such a perfect mix of all the different options and dynamics you need to win MLP. And I think the only thing that would get in their way is the chemistry that they've, building that chemistry together and being able to get through some gritty times against all these other good teams. But in my book, they're the best all-around team, and the combinations fit the best and have the most versatility.
Okay. And you heard me. I said Milwaukee Mashers. I still stand by that. They got 2 tall, powerful, athletic guys, and they all play singles. Michelle.
I have one final closing thought.
Yeah.
I just wanted to give a thanks to one of the team owners of the bus, David Cass, who opened up his pickle and chill facilities for me in Columbus this weekend. So thank you. Thank you for doing that. It was so fun. If you're ever in Columbus, check it out. The bus is a part of the draft process for the Challenger League coming up this week. So thank you for welcoming me with open arms and making my day.
I guess me and Casey didn't get the invite, but maybe the phone was off.
Well, if you want to come to 20-degree weather here in Columbus and go to a Stars Blue Jackets game, you let me know. You're always welcome.
You got tickets?
Yeah. No,
okay.
But yeah, I'll figure it out.
It's cold inside. It's cold
boys.
outside.
Mine has shorts on it, so I'd have to also wear something else.
Oh, you gotta get a onesie with pants.
You just don't go to the feet. They're not like slippers.
Where are you
gonna put your
potatoes?
You don't have your feet covered?
Yeah, I gotta wear socks. Oh, you got feeties?
Yeah,
man, this guy.
Feet.
That's what I thought yours was.
How did you play pickleball in that? You put your shoes over the feeties?
Oh yeah.
I don't think I could do that.
Yes,
There's not like a sensory issue with jamming fleece, feet coverings into.
Sometimes I just have to give myself something difficult to overcome so I play better because I was getting bored.
His toes are white at the end of the.
Toenails are all gone, but it was worth it.
Circulation.
Yeah, you looked the best. Thank you everyone for tuning in, and Michelle and Casey and everyone that's listening. Happy holidays this week. We will be back next week with everything Major League Pickleball. See ya.